Welcome back. Now, South African consumers will feel the burn of rising fuel costs next month. Neil Jivan from Investec joins us now to discuss how you can tighten your purse strings. He joins us now virtually to talk to us. Neil, I read in your statement talking about fuel hedging. What is fuel hedging?
So in its simplest form for fuel consumer, fuel hedging is a means of protecting the fuel consumer against expected future fuel price increases. Fuel hedging can be a variety of different ways using a variety of different products, including the use of instruments like swaps or options. But in any instrument or any form of fuel hedging, what it does is it gives a consumer certainty over the worst case fuel level that they'll have to pay over the period that they choose to protect and hedge themselves. And whatever happens, they will not have to pay for fuel more than that worst case level. Obviously, at different times in the cycle of a commodity, there may be more appropriate products, but the goal is ultimately protection against fuel prices increasing further.
Please give the viewer and I a practical example of how fuel hedging will work, because I didn't really understand what you meant in that first answer.
Okay, so this form of hedging is more for corporates or those who have large fuel price exposure. So those who are consuming in the logistics, retail, and airline industry. What these big corporates do is they may contact a bank like Investec and they'll say, look, I want to fix the price of diesel at where it is at the moment over the next 6 months. And I want to fix the price, let's, for argument's sake, say it's at 25 Rand. What Investec will do is we'll structure a product that will ensure that the price of fuel for this consumer will never be above 25 Rand. If the price of diesel after a month's time, let's say it spikes to 30 Rand, we will pay the consumer 5 Rand a litre so that they are made good. And they will have essentially paid for diesel at 25 Rand. And the same will happen at the end of the second month and the third month and so on. So they will have certainty that the price of diesel will not go above that level. I'm not sure if that...
Yeah, that kind of helps me a little bit. I'm running out of time, so just, in a very short answer, very tight answer, we're expecting the South African Reserve Bank possibly to also hike prices, etc. What can we do as consumers? You've just told business what to do. What can I do?
So as a consumer, I would say brace for the worst. At the moment, the consumer is at the mercy of multiple risk factors at play. We have a lot of uncertainty in the world with regards to the global supply of oil, which, as we've seen, has led to oil prices skyrocketing with what's going on in the Ukraine and a lot of other oil-producing countries not being able to make the deficit good, especially with the oil supply in the world. But the oil consumer needs to also make sure that they don't panic and they balance these fears with what's happening globally, with inflation being as high as it is, and with the Reserve Bank now on a rate hiking cycle in order to curb inflation, it will be negative for growth. And globally, if inflation is a problem and global interest rates remain high, we should see demand come off as these are all negative factors, and the demand for fuel therefore be less, and we should hopefully see some reprieve. I mean, it's always not a nice thing to think about, but if the world did, we will see oil prices come all the way lower as demand for oil will be a lot. And that's where we could be heading. Interest rates remain high, and if the inflation rate remains high, and a lot of consumers, not just in South Africa, but all over the world, are very of how high prices are. Fuel, but also food and other goods that go into the consumer basket. So for the worst, but don't panic and just try and save money where you can. And these are the forms, and we will ride these cycles.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Well, there you go. Brace yourself for the worst. That was Neil Jivan from Investec. Your weather is